Okay. Good afternoon. Just before we start, the Premier can't be with us today. He is on a call with his colleagues, the Atlantic Premiers, discussing their COVID-19 response. Dr. Morrison has expressed her ongoing concerns with the number of non-island residents traveling unnecessary to our province for personal reasons. During a time when we were doing everything we can to flatten the curve and contain the spread of COVID-19 in our province, any unnecessary travel to our province is a concern that we all share. Yesterday, Dr. Morrison was quite clear in her direction that visitors and cottagers should not be traveling to PEI until at least the end of May. Recognizing that we need to step up our enforcement efforts to support Dr. Morrison's direction and further protect Islanders, I've reached out to my counterparts in New Brunswick and the federal transportation colleagues today and expressed my concern over the number of non-resident and non-essential workers that are crossing our shared border with the United States, and asked that stricter screening enforcement be put in place. It's important that we work together to ensure that only those who need to be crossing our national and provincial borders are doing so that we can keep Canadians safe during these exceptional times. To that end, we will be stepping up our traffic screening and enforcement measures at the Confederation Bridge. Starting tonight, using highway safety and other law enforcement officials, we will be thoroughly screening all travelers coming across the bridge. Travelers who are not essential workers commuting to PEI for work, essential workers in the trade and transportation sectors who are moving goods and people across borders, such as truck drivers, Islanders returning from travel out of province or medical appointments, or students returning home, or individuals coming for compassionate grounds will be turned away at the bridge. Let me repeat that. Don't come if it's not essential. You are going to be turned away. Travelers will continue to be screened by public health after they go through the first screening. As I mentioned earlier, these are exceptional times. We know that Islanders are concerned and anxious, and we are working hard to practice what the Chief Public Health Office has asked us to do. Islanders should take comfort in knowing that together with the expert guidance of Dr. Morrison and her team, our government is taking action and putting measures in place with the sole intention to keep Islanders safe, as your health and well-being is our primary concern through all of this. Before I turn it over to Minister McKay for updates on steps his department has taken for sports to Islanders, I do have a few other updates on government services. On liquor stores, when we closed the government liquor stores, it was out of concern for customer and staff safety. We continue to work with the Chief Public Health Office to address the needs of Islanders at risk of alcohol withdrawal symptoms. We have put in place limited access at Oak Tree Place in Charlottetown, Granville Street in Summerside, and Montague. We thank Islanders for respecting the process and the staff for being flexible as we adapt to this change. We are providing 2 new options for limited alcohol availability where there's no nearby agency stores: O'Leary, which opened with limited access today, and Surrey, which will open with limited access starting tomorrow. Our plans were developed in keeping in direction of Dr. Morrison and the Chief Public Health Office. All these directions have enhanced cleaning and enhanced safety precautions to protect the public and our staff. There will be limited hours of operation to the general public, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday to Saturday. Hours for seniors and people with compromised immunity will be 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Monday to Saturday. On Sundays, all stores will be closed for deep cleaning. Once again, we'll be monitoring this process closely, and if we're finding that the clients aren't abiding by social distancing rules, we will reevaluate our plans to keep staff and Islanders safe. We've also received comments in regards to our PEI cannabis stores. We will not be opening PEI cannabis stores in the island at this time. Cannabis products are available for purchase online and will continue to be. We encourage Islanders to purchase through the website and have products delivered to their homes. This helps keep both staff and Islanders safe. And an update on the recreational fishing season. We understand how important recreational fishing is to Islanders. We continue to keep in contact with the Chief Public Health Office and weigh all factors that ensure the overall health and safety of our communities. The COVID-19 public health emergency is evolving from day to day. Government is deferring a decision on opening up the angling season and will provide an update on April 13th on that. With that, I'll turn it over to Minister McKay for his update.
Thank you, Mr. Myers. Good evening, everyone. I'll start with an update on all the programs our department has rolled out so far. To date, we have approved 1,000 applications and rolled out $850,000 from the Emergency Income Relief Fund into the pockets of self-employed Islanders. As for the Emergency Relief Worker Assistance Program for workers who are still working but have seen a significant reduction in their work hours due to the impact of COVID-19, 173 applications have been approved for 880 impacted employees, which means $150,000 are already in the pockets of island workers. As for our emergency working capital financing for small businesses, to date 70 loans have been approved, totaling $3.1 million. For our employee gift card program, we have received 1,108 applications from employers, which means 7,643 gift cards have gone out to island employees who have been laid off. And as for our commercial lease rent deferral program, we have received 40 inquiries and have approved 2 applications so far. Every day, my department is working hard to think of new ways we can help Islanders during this tough time. We realize that not every support program we've rolled out so far fits the needs of every Islander. But I continue to keep my promise that no Islander will be left behind. So with that, today I'm announcing the COVID-19 Income Support Fund. The COVID-19 Income Support Fund will help Islanders bridge the gap between their loss of income, of either employment insurance benefits or the Canada Emergency Response Benefit. This fund is a one-time lump sum of $750. Islanders who, as of March 13th, 2020, have lost their job or have been laid off or have had their employment insurance benefits expire and are not able to return to work and have applied for benefits through either employment insurance or the Canada Emergency Response Benefit may be eligible for the COVID-19 Income Support Fund to help bridge the gap between their loss of income and the arrival of their federal benefits. Details on the fund and how to apply will be available on the COVID for Business webpage after 5 p.m. this evening. That webpage address is princeedwardisland.ca/COVID for Business. Once again, princeedwardisland.ca/COVID for Business. I'll wrap things up thanking all Islanders for your patience over the past few weeks. We know these are tough times, but I continue to promise you, you have our support, and together we'll get through this.
All right, thank you, Minister McKay. With that, we'll go right to questions from the media.
Nicole Williams, CBC.
Yes, I'd like to just clarify some things on these new bridge measures. Wondering, you said that people coming into PEI or onto PEI for non-essential reasons will be turned away. What about Islanders who are trying to leave for non-essential reasons? What will happen to them?
Well, at this point, New Brunswick has measures in on their side of the bridge that are basically doing identical to what we're doing. We've heard reports of people being turned around. The Premier of New Brunswick, in an update 2 days ago, said they had turned 93 people down at various borders to New Brunswick, so I suspect New Brunswick will take care of that situation themselves.
And you mentioned that there are also going to be enhanced screening measures. What does that look like? What's different now than what you were doing previously?
Well, now when you come in, it's a health screening. When you come in starting tonight, there's going to be 2 screenings. One is going to be through our screening process, through highway safety and other law enforcement officials, where we're going to ask you where you're going, why you're here, is it essential? If it's not, you're going to be turned around. If it is, you'll be passed through and you'll be screened through the health process like we are currently doing. So now there's going to be two processes. One, to see if you're essential. If you're not, you'll be turned around. And the second one is if you get through the first one, you'll be screened for health reasons.
Is there going to be any kind of further enforcement if you have repeat offenders, I guess? If people have been turned away multiple times, is there anything stricter going to happen to them?
Turned away at the bridge?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think there's any. the enforcement is we're turning them around. So at this point, I suspect we won't have to turn you around multiple times, but if we do, we'll visit that when the time comes. But at this point, this is a stronger measure. This is the strongest measure we've had in place yet. And I think that we're going to show people that we're serious about this.
And do you know how many people...
Wayne Thibodeau, CBC.
This question for Matthew McKay, actually, with regards to the COVID-19 Income Support Fund. I understand this is a transition fund. You said may qualify. So can you give us a better sense what the qualifications are and how people will go about qualifying for this or applying for this? Sorry.
Certainly, thanks for the question. So it's going to be administered through Skills PEI. We feel that we can get the money out the door relatively quick. Like I say, the application is going to be up after 5 this evening, so people can start filling that out as of this evening. So what it comes down to, anybody that has been impacted by COVID-19 as of March 13th. So if somebody has been laid off, has lost their job, their EI has run out and they're not ready to get back to work, there's no job for them, they will be able to qualify. So it's a bridge measure to get us to the federal programs rolling out, and like I say, it's a one-time $750 that will help support Islanders through this transition.
And I know we've talked more about a top-up. So has the province considered any more about a potential top-up? Once they get that EI, it's obviously only 55% of their income. Is the province looking at topping up employment insurance or other benefits coming from the federal government?
At this point, we're going to see what the federal government rolls out and the programs. We're taking this one day at a time. This has been a challenge for everyone across the country. So we're continuously looking at programs every day through my department. And once the feds roll out their programs, we're going to have a better handle. But as of right now, this is going to be a one-time $750 that's going to help people transition to the next payment.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Stu Neapy, The Guardian.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. First question to Minister Myers. I wonder if you mentioned Dr. Morrison was concerned about non-essential travelers. I wonder if there's anything more you could tell me about volume or about kind of specific examples of travelers who are coming here, how widespread this is.
Thanks, Stu. So at this point, we have reports all over the island of people returning back to their cottages. We are hearing different reports of people looking to stay in rental properties across Prince Edward Island. We really don't know, I think, exactly how widespread and how large this is, but we're trying to contain the issues that we have inside our own borders, and we're trying not to add extra people into it at this point for obvious reasons. So we're putting stricter measures in place to ensure that only essential travel gets into Prince Edward Island. And I think it's important for our, for the health and safety of our province to do that.
Okay, and a follow-up to Minister McKay on the COVID-19 Income Support Fund. We've been hearing kind of a number of people who are sort of raising the point that for federal income support funds, including the CURB, many students are not usually eligible for a lot of these income supports. So I'm wondering, with this support fund, I know it's just supposed to be a bridging program, but specifically, are students or even international students going to be eligible for this fund?
Thank you, Stu. Actually, we're developing a whole separate fund for students. My department and our group are working on that now. So hopefully within the next day or two, we'll be able to roll something out. But we've got a separate program coming for students alone.
Thank you.
Rachel Collier, Eastern Graphic.
Hi there. My question is along similar lines of students. I'm just curious, what is the status of the government-funded summer job applications and other government seasonal youth jobs? That would be for McKay.
Thank you. I can take that question. So that actually falls under Minister Fox's department, but I know he's been working daily on that. He is supposed to be having an announcement in the coming days on that as well. I know they're looking at speeding the process up as well as possibly adding more funds into that program. So I know it's on his radar, and he should be able to answer that in the coming days, but it's definitely being worked on.
Okay, thanks. That's all I have for now.
Carrie Wynn McLeod, Ocean 100.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. My question is for Minister Myers. With these new measures that are now in place and the extra screening and Dr. Morrison saying that people should rethink about coming here, at the end of May at the earliest, can you confirm or tell me why then that government, as of last weekend or last week, started reaching out to people and hiring or contracting people to ensure that cottage roads in the province are open and accessible.
Thank you. Well, as the Minister of Transportation, I can assure you we didn't open any roads. We've had numerous requests. I've turned every one of them down and will continue to turn them down. We don't plow cottage roads ever. We won't this spring, and we won't next spring or any other spring.
So nobody has been hired or contracted to do that and open those roads?
Not through my department, no.
Who other department would that happen through then?
Nobody's.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Laurent Rigaud, La Voix acadienne.
Yes, good evening. I have a question for Minister Myers. I'd like to know if you have the number of people who have been returned by PEI to New Brunswick so far.
So we're going to start this evening. So the new measures are going to go in this evening. We will keep stats daily, and we can provide you daily updates if you wish.
Okay, so no, just to be clear, no one has yet been returned at the bridge.
I believe that Dr. Morrison indicated that some had turned around voluntarily when they were asked if their travel was essential. Now it's just going to move into a different stage where it's going to be mandatory.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. All right, so that's it for this evening. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and thanks for the questions.